In the middle of the Andes Mountains, a 757 is in trouble. With terrain surrounding it on all sides, the plane struggles for altitude. As the throttles are pushed full forwards, the Boeing begins to race up the side of a mountain. How did this airplane end up so dangerously off course? And why didn't the pilots notice before it was too late? This is American Airlines 965. American Airlines Flight 965 was a regularly scheduled flight from Miami in the United States to Calais in Colombia. The flight tonight was being operated by a Boeing 757-223 with registration November 651 Alpha Alpha. In the left-hand seat was 57-year-old Captain Nicholas Tafuri, and in the right-hand seat was 39-year-old First Officer Donald Williams. Captain Tafuri was a very experienced pilot with over 13,000 total hours of flight time, including over 2,200 on the 757. First Officer Williams had around 6,000 flight hours of total time, including 2,286 of those hours on the 757. On board were also 155 passengers and 6 flight attendants, making up 163 total occupants on board. Now, with Christmas less than a week away, a lot of people are traveling home for the holidays. With this comes crowded skies, delays, and cancellations. This flight is no different, as it has already been delayed for over an hour at this point. A winter storm has been causing havoc on American Airlines' fleet up north. Dispatch decided that they would delay Flight 965 so that people arriving into Miami on delayed flights would be able to make their connecting flight into Calais. Both pilots know that if the flight isn't canceled, that they would be flying late into the night. With the flight nearing 2 hours behind schedule, both are eager to get their plane in the air. At 6:27 p.m., American 965 finally gets cleared to depart from the gate and taxi to the runway, and after waiting in line for a few minutes, departs out of Miami, inbound for Calais. At 9:26 p.m., American 965 gets cleared by Bogota Center to begin its descent into Cali. Up until this point, the flight has been routine, with most passengers either sleeping or getting ready for their landing in Calais. For the captain, this was just like the many times he's landed here before, albeit, unlike most of his flights here, they were incredibly late. Both the captain and first officer wanted nothing more than to get a good amount of sleep before another likely busy day tomorrow. Other than that, there was nothing really to worry about. Aside from a stray rain shower or two, the weather in Calais was calm. Now, something to have in mind is the approach into Calais can be treacherous. Calais sits in the middle of 2 mountain ranges, both reaching heights of over 9,000 to 10,000 feet tall. In order to reach Calais safely, pilots have to follow a set of navigational beacons that will guide them in between the 2 mountain ranges. During the day, the flight crews can normally see the mountains, but at night or in poor visibility situations, following this set path is crucial. The main waypoints we will focus on in this story are the Tolua, abbreviated ULQ, Roseau, abbreviated ROZO, Romeo, abbreviated R, and Calais, abbreviated CLO. Note that Roseau on the charts that they were using was abbreviated as R, the same as Romeo. This will be important later. As the flight crew begin to level off at their assigned altitude, they contact the controller at Calais and announce that they are now inbound for runway 01. The controller clears them for further descent, then tells them the wind is calm and asks if they would rather land on runway 19. Runway 19 is a much more direct approach than 01, and hence would mean the flight crew can get on the ground way faster than they otherwise would. The pilots agree to this runway change and begin to set the plane up for arrival.
Sir, the wind is calm. Are you able to approach runway 19er?
Would you like to shoot the runway 19 straight in?
Yeah. We'll have to scramble to get down. We can do it.
Yes, sir. We'll need a lower altitude right away, though.
Roger, American 965 is cleared the VOR DME. Approach runway 19er. Roso number 1 arrival. Report to Lua VOR.
Cleared the VOR DME to 19, Roso 1 arrival. Will report the VOR. Thank you, sir.
Report to Lua VOR.
Report to Lua.
I gotta give you Tulua first of all. You want to go right to Cali or Tulua?
I thought he said the Roso 1 arrival.
Yeah, he did. We have time to pull that out.
The pilots, now having a new approach plan, scramble to get charts for the new runway and star. In a rushed environment, missing something or making a mistake becomes way easier to do. If you watched my American Airlines 1420 documentary, this setup probably seems very similar. Whilst the new runway is closer, the downside is that the pilots now have less time to lose the same amount of altitude. One way a pilot can lose more altitude is to extend the spoilers. This device works by disrupting the airflow over the top of the wing and causing a lot of drag. As a result, the wing produces less lift and the airplane starts to slow down. This can help when the pilots need their plane to descend or lose speed faster than just pulling the engine power out. As they begin to descend faster, the plane starts to pick up speed. Thus, to control this, the captain extends the spoilers all the way. At the same time, he clears the previous flight plan from the flight computer and programs a straight-in approach into runway 19. As he does this, he also clears the Tulua VOR from the flight computer, the same VOR he is told he has to report over. As he continues, he also searches for Roso. He puts R into his flight computer, thinking this is the correct identifier for the waypoint. He then selects the waypoint at the top as it's the closest to the airplane. He assumes this waypoint is Roso, when in reality, Roso is not the waypoint he selected. Romeo is. As he finalizes the flight plan, he presses execute. This causes the airplane to start a left-hand turn towards Romeo and, unknowingly, towards mountains. The captain does not notice this turn as he is now preoccupied on finding Tulua, the VOR he deleted earlier, unaware that they have now passed over and are traveling away from it. As he programs Tulua into his navigational equipment, he's expecting Tulua to be in front of him, not behind him.
So let me put ULQ in here, 17.7, because I want to be on raw data with you.
American 965, distance now?
What did you want, sir?
Distance, DME.
Okay, the distance from Calais is, 38.
Where are we
Roger.
going out to?
Let's go right to Tulua first of all, okay?
Yeah, where are we headed? The first officer is the first to notice that the plane is turning away from the airport, leaving both pilots confused by what their plane is doing.
17.7 ULQ, I don't know, what's this ULQ? What happened here?
Manual,
Let's come to the right a little bit.
yeah, he's wanting to know where we're heading.
UL, I'm gonna give you direct to Tulua. Okay, right now. Okay, you got it? Okay. And it's on your map. Should be.
Yeah, it's a left turn. The plane, by this point, has turned to the left so much that Tallulah is behind and to the left of them. This is not what the captain was expecting to see. Confused, he starts to tunnel vision on finding out their position relative to Tallulah.
Okay, I'm getting it. 17.7. Just doesn't look right on mine. I don't know why.
Left turn. So you want to turn left back around to ULQ?
Nah, hell no. Let's press on to
Well, press on to where, though?
Tallulah.
That's right, yeah.
Where are we going? 1, 2... Come to the right. Let's go to Cali. First of all, we got screwed up here, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, go direct CLO. How did we get screwed up here? Come to the right now. Come to the right now.
Yeah, we're in heading select to the right.
And American, 38 miles north of Calais. Do you want us to go to Tallulah and then do the Roseau, the runway, right? To the runway 19?
Niner 65, you can land runway 19er. You can use runway 19er. What is your altitude and the DME from Calais?
Okay, we're 37 DME at 10,000 feet.
You're okay.
Roger.
You're in good shape now. We're headed...
Report 5,000 and final 11, runway 19er.
Come to the right. Come to the right to Calais for now, okay?
Okay.
See, it's that Tallulah I'm not getting for some reason. See, I can't get... Okay. Now, no. Tallulah's messed up.
Giving up on finding Tallulah, the pilots finally decide that they want to go direct to Calais. However, what they don't know is that a wall of mountains now lies in between them and the airport. As they begin to turn towards the city, the controller, who still has not gotten a report over Tallulah, is now confused and trying to piece together where the plane is. As he calls them for their altitude and distance, an alarm starts blaring in the cockpit.
Terrain, pull up. Terrain, pull up. Terrain, pull up.
The pilots quickly disconnect the autopilot and push the thrust levers all the way forwards, pulling the nose of the airplane skyward. The pilots were so startled by the alarm that both of them forgot to retract the spoilers, thus greatly hindering their ability to climb. The plane rockets up the side of the mountain until, after approximately 12 seconds, they run out of room. The airplane initially cleared the top of Mount El Diluvio. However, with the damage done to the tail after hitting trees, the plane fell back down shortly after passing over the summit. Out of 163 that were on board, only 4 people would ultimately survive the crash. The accident would be investigated by the Aeronautica Civil of Colombia in collaboration with the National Transportation Safety Board. In September of the following year, Aeronautica Civil would release its final report and give these probable causes. Quote, 1. The flight crew's failure to adequately plan and execute the approach for runway 19 at SKCL, and their inadequate use of automation. 2. Failure of the flight crew to discontinue the approach into Calais, despite numerous cues alerting them of the inadvisability of continuing the approach. 3. Lack of situational awareness of the flight crew regarding vertical navigation, proximity to terrain, and the relative location of critical radio aids. 4. Failure of the flight crew to revert back to basic radio navigation at the time when the flight management system assisted navigation became confusing and demanded an excessive workload in the critical phase of flight. Along with this are a few contributing factors. The flight crew's attempt to run a rushed approach despite the mentally demanding conditions this airport required. The flight crew's failure to retract the speed brakes during the terrain escape maneuver. And, quote, FMS-generated navigational information that used different naming conventions from that published in navigational charts, end quote. American Airlines would file a lawsuit against Jeppesen, the airport chart distributor, and Honeywell, the flight computer manufacturer, for allowing Rozo to have two different naming identities, R for the charts and ROZO on the flight computer. The court determined that Honeywell and Jeppesen played a role in the incident and would have to pay a set percentage of compensation to the families alongside American Airlines. As a result of the incident, a more capable version of GPWS would be introduced in 1996 and was made a mandatory system on the flight deck of all passenger airplanes. Had this system been implemented before the crash, this accident may very well have never happened. American Airlines Flight 965 was a wake-up call to the aviation industry regarding the avoidance of terrain, and with the innovations that came in the wake of this accident, I think it's safe to say that Flight 965 is a just contributor to what makes flying the safest mode of transportation today.